What was here before, Eddie?
Rows of houses. This was the bay, the people that lived near or on the bay, and most all the homes were destroyed. Everything is just wiped out. This is ground zero here. There were houses all along here. This is a neighborhood.
There were houses all along, and they got wiped out.
They just dumb.
So these were not torn down and cleaned up afterwards. This is what it looked like when the storm surged.
All the debris was washed on their neighbors on the next other streets. That's why some of them have so much debris on them.
So where are these people now?
Some of them are living in town in motels, and there's some cabins at the park in Anahuac. There's a few people. You'll see some tents up here that are staying in the tents. We're the only church in Oak Island. Oak Island it's just a community. It's not an incorporated city. There's no mayor. There's no city council. There's nobody else. So my grandmother taught me that the church had to be the lighthouse to a community. And so that's what we are right now, is the lighthouse. And times when other people run away, God's people, we run in when everybody else is running out, and we help and we bless. And we do what Christ commanded us to do.
The amount of trash 5 weeks after the storm hit, I was so busy with all my studying that I didn't even know that Ike made a huge impression. I thought it went somewhere else because I didn't hear anything about the news. I didn't hear any of that. So glad that I came. Met this really nice guy named Floyd, cleaned up his house. He had Lou Gehrig's disease, and we got to pray with him, talk with him. He was so thankful for all of that, you could tell. But there was trash everywhere, and it's going to take a lot to clean it up.
Eddie, were you here when people were first coming back, and what was that whole?
Well, yeah, pretty emotional. And still today, we'll get someone who's never seen this before, they get real emotional. You get very emotional.
What about the homeowners? I mean, were you here to kind of walk?
We had our first, we had a church service the week after, and it was a very emotional service, and people were just devastated. And I think people are still in shock, a lot of the people, and I think they're slowly coming to the realization of just what happened and how it's going to affect their lives. We have a long road ahead of us. The FEMA experts say it will take 4 years to rebuild a community in total.
What most impacted me was just the need of everything. I mean, you think, well, you see it on TV, and then you see all the bulldozers and everything helping, but they just show you what's going on, what's happening. They don't show everything that's not happening and everything. I mean, there are people that are living in tents. They've been living in tents, from the beginning, just the need of everything that they need down here, from food to clothes to shelter to just helping, prep work to tear down their house so that they can start over and build up again. Me and a couple other guys went out at first and helped Floyd Edmonds, and his house was, it was still standing, but it needed to be bulldozed. It wasn't safe. There were holes in the ceiling, there were holes in the floor. It was a house that was up on stilts and everything, so everything underneath was just covered in mud and totally ruined. The stuff was falling through the floor because it was rotting, and we had to try to get all his appliances out from the top and everything. But just yet in the midst of all of this, he was still happy, he was still praising God, he was still praying for other people and everything. We had 18 people here for, one day and then a little bit the next day, and, we got quite a bit done, but yet it was still just a drop in the bucket. There was still so much that needed to be done. When we prepped one house to be bulldozed, but she had like a shed and something else that had found their way into her yard after the tsunami came through. And so it was just sort of, we didn't even get through one person's property. And so we just there's still so much that needs to be done.
Some people have the heart of a missionary, and some people want to do that for their lives. And the problem with me this week was that I want to be a missionary, but I wasn't willing to give up this weekend because I had 2 tests. And I was so tired on Friday, and I was just physically tired because I got out of school late, and I was telling my parents how tired I was because I was very tired. And they were telling me, you know what, if you feel that way, just, you cannot go because you're going to be working. Like, it's going to be physical work, and you're not going to get to rest, and you have your test. And then I asked my dad, and then he's like, well, just go and rest over there or do something. I mean, it's your decision. And I was thinking, if I cannot give God one day, one weekend, then how can I plan to give him my life, And we think that, oh, when I finish with school, I'll be able to give him everything. But it's not going to happen because you need to start from now.
We lost our church, but the church isn't the wood, the brick, the mortar. It's the people. That's the church, and that's what we have to learn. And that's where our security should be in Jesus Christ, not in a building. But we're going to rebuild, but we've learned we can have church in a tent, we can have church out in the open. That doesn't matter. Where God's people gather, His Spirit will be there, and God will bless and God will minister. So, anyway, I hope you understand the historic significance of you being a part of this. It's something you'll tell your children and grandchildren about. I remember Ike and what happened. But you can also be proud of the fact that I was part of the recovery. I was part of meeting people's needs. And that'll bless you. That'll bless you. And it'll make you strong and show you things about yourself that maybe you didn't know, and how God can use you, how God can use every one of us in His ministry.